welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. These are my shelves, and this is my cat Humphrey. One of my cats, Humphrey. If you don't know, I have 9, yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cats. And this is my indoor baby. He was featured in my last vlog, which was 4 or 5 months ago. And that brings me to what this video is, which is actually a vlog. I got distracted by my cat. So I did a vlog a few months ago and I really enjoyed it. It was very low key. Humphrey wants down. There he goes, landing like a sack of potatoes. I found that doing a vlog the first time was very low key and I really enjoyed it, and it felt more organic and natural and just a little bit more a day in the life, that kind of thing. So I decided I wanted to do it again. It was the kind of content that I really enjoyed. And also, if you see me squirming, that's because Humphrey is clawing at my ankles. Humphrey, let's, this is great. This is fantastic. This is great. So what is on today's vlog agenda? Well, there's a hurricane coming. And you might be thinking, if you don't know where I live, oh, she must live like in Florida or Louisiana, maybe Texas. No, I live in California and not like by the coast. I'm not rich enough to live by the coast. I live in the Inland Empire, which is hot and miserable and full of warehouses. And we're slated to get like 2 to 4 inches of rain and some pretty strong winds, which I know if you do live in those states that I mentioned, you're like, girl, please shut up. That's barely a hurricane. And I think it's going to be a tropical storm by the time it gets here, but I cannot stress to you enough how ill-equipped this part of the nation is for anything beyond like a drizzle. Like, we get half an inch of rain and my street floods. It is terrible. So I am gonna be like battening down the hatches. My girlfriend and I are gonna go grocery shopping. I'm a little concerned about losing power. Either like Sunday night or Monday morning, especially Monday morning, because if I lose power, I work from home, I have to take my own PTO. Don't even get me started. So if my work wants to like give me Monday off, that would be great. So I will be doing that, but while we are out grocery shopping, I am going to be heading to Cellar Door Books, which is my local indie bookstore, and they've been closed for about 4 months or so, and they are finally reopening. They just reopened, I think, on the 17th. So brand new reopening, brand new location. I absolutely love them, and I love the fact that I have options other than just Barnes & Noble. No shade to Barnes & Noble, love them, but I will be going and checking out their new space and definitely buying at least one book, probably more than one, because I have a thing. I can't go to a bookstore and just buy one book. Like, it's gonna be lonely. It's gonna be lonely. It needs a friend, so it has to have at least 2 books. And then I was like, well, if I get 2, I might as well have 3. And of course, just like I did in my last vlog, I will absolutely be showing you all my cats. You've met Humphrey, but we have 8 other cats for you to meet. We have River, we have Rosalie, we have Alice. Yes, they are named after the characters from Twilight. We have Cheeto, we have Cashew, we have Oliver, and oh my God, I'm forgetting some of their names. We have August and we have Nala. So that is the gang, that is the crew. I'm also gonna be kind of prepping them for this. Okay, so backstory with the cats, backstory. When I moved to this house in summer of 2021, so I've lived here for 2 years, I had 1 cat. I had 1 indoor cat. So I brought him with me, and my grandmother used to live here and she had 2 cats at the time. And she was like, hey, will you take care of them? They're mostly outdoors. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So one of those cats has since passed away, my sweet Moggy. She had kidney failure back in February, and that was really, really sad. But the other cat was Nala. She is still around. She is still vibing in the backyard and being kind of a pain in my ass, but I love her. And then all of the other cats just sort of like came into my yard about a year ago. Like, they've trickled in one by one. And I didn't know where they had come from. And then cue us, my cat River. So he had a whole series of injuries that I kind of touched on, but basically we went to get him neutered. We found out he had a giant abscess on his tail. He ran off, the bandage fell off, the abscess reopened where they like cut it out. He got a foxtail caught in it. And then it was just sort of one medical complication after the other. So he's still living in my house because he and Humphrey don't get along that great. But one day we were sitting with him outside. We sort of like built this enclosure for him and he crawled out. He jumped over the fence into my neighbor's yard. So my girlfriend and I go over there to get him, and we find out that he is one of 10 cats that my neighbor purchased to, I guess he was having a rat problem. So instead of calling an exterminator like a normal fucking person, he got 10 cats, let them loose, and then proceeded to like never provide veterinary care for them. So if you're my neighbor and you're seeing this, I think you know how I feel about you. It's neglect and you should be ashamed of yourself. But most of these cats are semi-friendly, and they've come over to my yard where I give them food and water and medical care and shelter. So that's how I ended up with so many cats. I'm not a crazy person who went out and adopted 9 cats, but I'm a huge animal lover, and these animals deserve love and care. And Humphrey's in the cat tree being insane right now. He's having a zoomie. It's really sad what's happened to those cats and the neglect that they are enduring. My neighbor is not abusing them, but it is a form of mistreatment to have a cat covered in ringworm, as one of their cats is, and not give it medical care. So shame on them, but I'm doing what I can for all of them. I'm trying to treat that cat's ringworm. His name is Mufasa, but he likes to stay over there in their yard. He very rarely comes over here. Anyway, that was really long-winded about my cats, but I wanted to establish I'm not a crazy person, okay? These cats all came to me, and I am happy to give them the love and the care that I can. So right now, it is a little before 3 o'clock. My girlfriend is going to be here soon, and we are going to head out to Cellar Door Books and definitely go to Starbucks beforehand. So yeah, thank you guys for being here, and I hope you enjoy just following me along for the day. Welcome to the backyard where there is distant music thrumming in the distance and someone like grating something against metal. We love that. Only a few characters out here today. We have Cashew. Say hi, bub. Yeah, that's our little Cashew, and he loves belly rubs. And you can't tell from here, but he's very dense. This cat has abs, and I love that for him. Cashew, you wanna look at the camera? Yeah, there you go, buddy. And then this is Nala, aka Nollywood. I'm amazed that her collar has stayed on. We got collars for some of them, like the ones that have been here longest. We had one for Cashew, he's lost it twice. Now there goes Rosalie, she also has a collar. Rosalie doesn't really like to be touched. And there's our sweet Nala showing us the belly. Hi girlfriend, how are you? What is that in your fur? Don't you hate that when you're trying to help them and they're just like, ew, don't touch me? And then this is Mr. August. Fun fact, his name used to be Sapphire, and then we found out that he was a boy. Oh, and this is Cheeto. Cheeto's been very good with his collar, haven't you, buddy? He used to have one that was like blue, and it also had a bow tie, and it had like a little rainbow name tag on it. But the cats, like, the name tags are so big that it just like drags on the ground. It's kind of terrible. Hey, Cheeto Burrito. Yeah, so Cheeto and Cashew, I'm like 99% sure are brothers. They're very much like a bonded pair. And then I am pretty sure that Rosalie over here. Rosalie, seriously, you're not gonna look at me? Anyway, I'm pretty sure Rosalie is their mother. Hey, Cheeto. Hi, bud. Don't know where the distant music is coming from, but someone's having a good time. Yeah, so this is the state of the backyard right now. I had to sort of like put everything up. I'm gonna move it all into my shed. But yeah, I have a lot of just like loose stuff out here. That's not an ashtray, you didn't see that. All of this, that's a diatomaceous earth because I have bug problems. It's just so much to take in. And I'm really praying that my lights will stay up. So that is the current state of affairs right now. I am like squinting into the sun. I've not been able to get Botox. Yeah, I used to do Botox, but it's very expensive, and I'm too poor for it basically right now, with like my cat vet bills and such. And I mentioned my gray hairs, but like, can you see them? they're not even gray, they're like white. And I turned 26 in November, and the fact that I already have gray hairs is devastating to me. And there's commentary to be made here about like the expectations of women, that like you're not allowed to age, that you're supposed to be beautiful forever, and that you can't be beautiful when you're older. And I'm definitely susceptible to that. And if my neighbor could like shut up and stop doing their metal work, that would be great. But knock it off. What is your problem? Anyway, the point is I am definitely susceptible to that, and that's like a journey of self-acceptance that I'm working on making. Like, I've worked on making that journey as far as being autistic. I'm pursuing my formal diagnosis, and maybe I'll talk more about that later. And also like with my body, I am like technically considered overweight, and coming to terms with the fact that that is not an indictment of my character. That doesn't make me a bad person. That doesn't make me ugly or undesirable. So it's like I've been able to come to terms with those, but I look naked right now. It's been a lot harder with the aging thing. So yeah, just food for thought. Okay, so we are en route to the bookstore. We were going to take my car. My girlfriend is off camera. Hi, baby. And my car's dead. And I just jumped it like 3 days ago. I called AAA, and they drove it around for like half an hour, and I let it sit. And now it's dead again. And I fear the battery is dead, which like, I didn't know batteries died every 3 years. Like, I'm a dumb girl. I don't know that stuff. Anyway, so I went to Starbucks and I got an espresso frappuccino with an extra shot and double blended and frappuccino chips, which I haven't had before. I usually don't get the frappuccino chips in it. Anyway, so now we are voyaging to Riverside to go to the bookstore and then go grocery shopping with our handwritten list because we are old women at heart. So yeah, I will see you all at the bookstore. Okay, we are back home and the filming angle is slightly different, but that's because I'm not very professional and I just sort of like moved the ring light out of my kitchen and set it up in the same general area. So the shot is slightly different every time, but variety is the spice of life. And that is why I bought 4 new books. Did I intend to buy 4? No, but I went in and I was so excited. I was like, I'm not gonna give myself a limit. I am just gonna see what catches my fancy and then, buy it. So Cellar Door Bookstore just recently moved locations. They opened up 2 days ago. Their lease was terminated at their old business complex, and the old business complex kind of sucks. And we think they did it at least in part because Cellar Door is a very BIPOC, LGBTQ plus friendly, and the management of their old business park is not allegedly. All of this is alleged, but I'm just saying, I'm just voicing what the people have speculated. So they moved to a new location in Riverside, maybe a mile or so down the road, and I really like this new location better. It's a little more open, it gets a little more light. The book selection, I think is like, it's a little bit light still, but they also did reopen literally like 2 days ago, so I'm sure a lot of shipments are still coming in. Sorry if you can hear music in the background. One of my neighbors is like having a party because one of my neighbors is always having a party. They have a cute little selection of stickers and I got 2 of them. The first of which, we're gonna do like the beauty guru thing. Is that in focus? Yeah. It just says "Say Gay" and I love it, especially in the wake of the "Don't Say Gay" movement in Florida, and also Florida just being shitty, and the book bans that are especially targeted at BIPOC and LGBTQ plus books. So really love that, and definitely putting it on my laptop. And the other one, which I kind of want to put on my car, but I don't think it's like sturdy enough to be like designed to hold up on a car, is this one. Let's get her in focus. The ring light glare is always going to be there, but it says "No one is treading on you, sweetie." And like, look, can you see how goofy the snake's eyes look? I love that. Anytime I see someone with those stupid "Don't tread on me" flags, I'm like, tell me you're an idiot without telling me you're an idiot. One little detail that I love about Cellar Door is they give you 1 bookmark for every book that you buy. And at this point I have like 12 Cellar Door books. So it's like, I don't need any more, but it's just such a cute detail. I love that they actually give you bookmarks, and these are pretty sturdy. So they feel good and they hold up pretty well. So I got 4 books. I have 4 new bookmarks, but I did notice that has their old address on here. So I got 2 books that were on my TBR and 2 books that were not, but I had sort of had interest in. And the first in that, not on my TBR, but I was aware of it and had interest, was Night Crawling by Layla Motley. I have heard a lot of people review this and really enjoy it. And I love the fact that the author is a really young Black woman. I want to say she was like 20 when this got published, which I just think is incredible and amazing, especially as someone who's been a writer since like before I was a teenager. And if you haven't been here before, I'm an agented author. My debut novel is on submission, and I'm 25, so I'm kind of considered at like the lower end. I'm like considered a little bit younger, but the fact that Motley was in her late teens or early 20s, got an agent, got a deal with a big 5 publisher is like incredible to me. So this had been on my radar for a really long time, and it was one of those ones that's like I never would see it when I went in the bookstore, but I finally saw it and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy it. So I have really high hopes for this one. I don't think I've seen anyone in my circles on Bookstagram give it anything less than like a 4-star rating, so very, very excited to dive into this one. And the next book that was not on my TBR was With Teeth by Kristen Arnett. So I was actually interested in Mostly Dead Things, which I believe is her debut. I think this is her sophomore novel. This sort of falls into the unhinged motherhood genre of books like The Push, and I love those books when they're done well. The Push I gave 4 stars. I read it last year and I really enjoyed it. And I have heard that Kristen Arnett is very like dark storylines, kind of fucked up, and that's absolutely my bread and butter. Fun fact, in the submission package for my book, my agent compared my book to Kristen Arnett's works, And I have not read Krista Arnett, so I feel like I really need to do that. I'm interested to see sort of in how we overlap, how we approach the same topics, like tone, voice. So this one is like, I'm excited to read it, but it's also like a little bit more like homework for me as an author. But with Krista Arnett, I feel like she is definitely going to deliver with the unhinged, dark motherhood vibes that I'm expecting from With Teeth. This next one I've seen all over Bookstagram. I've probably seen like a dozen, 20, somewhere in that neighborhood, people I follow review this, and that is Ripe by Sarah Eder. Mixed feelings about the cover. I kind of love like the creepy close-up of the pomegranates, and I kind of hate it. As icky as I find it, I do still like the vibe that it serves, and it's perfect with the title, Ripe. Love it. Ripe is the journey of a woman, I believe her name is Cassie, and if I'm right, that's kind of funny because that's my sister-in-law's name. I love encountering the names of like people I know in fiction. There's a lack of Samanthas. The only Samantha I know is Bunny by Mona Awad, which I didn't like. So if you're an author, you should absolutely include a Samantha in your next story. But this is about a woman who I believe is named Cassie and her journey through like a Silicon Valley startup and kind of like the nightmare that is capitalism. And eventually I believe her boss gets her pregnant, and it's implied, at least from the blurb to me, that it's like sexual harassment and coercion, because I believe the blurb says like his demands cross into illegal territory. And I am really curious to see where this goes. This is a book that it's been so hyped for me. I've seen so many people enjoy it that I did really want to try it. But I had one issue with it, which is that it's described as darkly comic, and you all know how I feel. I don't like comic, I just like dark. So I'm interested to see where it goes there, and I am interested to see the angle it's going to take on motherhood. And it could go either way for me. I feel like this is one I'm either going to be really indifferent toward or really love, and I'm hoping for the latter because, again, it's just been so beloved since its release, which I want to say was like a month or so ago. So this is a very, very new release. And the last book is actually the first one that I grabbed when I walked into Cellar Door because I saw it right in the front display and I went, that's on my TBR, I want it so bad. And that is The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman. It is about a young woman who is raised in this religious cult where there's no contact allowed with the outside world, where they're not allowed to read books, and it's her journey, I believe, as she tries to leave that cult. Cult stories can go either way for me, but when you like put in that dash of religion and religious isolation, which I'm really interested right now as a theme in my own writing, and then just like religious trauma as a theme in a lot of the media that I consume, Shiny Happy People, great documentary. If you haven't watched it and you are interested in like fundamentalism and the absolute evil and rot that it has created in our society, I definitely recommend it. But anyway, this also very heavily, from what I can tell in the blurb, references Nathaniel Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter, which I have actually not read. And I want to say this is the second book I've seen recently that, I don't want to say borrows, but incorporates the Scarlet Letter. And I cannot remember, is it Hester? Is that the other one? I want to say it's Hester. I could not tell you the author. I'm not familiar with the Scarlet Letter as a source material, but the fact that I've seen it come up in a couple books now makes me really want to read it. But going back to The Invisible Hour, I'm super excited for this one. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see how slim it is. For some reason, I thought this was going to be bigger. Of all four of these books, I would definitely say, expect me to read this first. This is by far the one I'm most excited for, and the one that I have the highest expectations for, and also think it can meet my really high expectations. So that is what we got as far as the book haul. I also went outside recently and finally like cleaned off my patio, so hopefully when ye old hurricane comes, I don't have too much loose stuff that can just blow around and like break my windows and all of that. Feeling a little bit apprehensive about it, not like super nervous, but just it's so foreign to me as a Californian to be like, there's a tropical storm coming? What does that even mean? What does that even look like? So I'm expecting a lot of rain. I'm expecting wind, and I am expecting, but really hoping I don't lose power just because it's so humid. Like right now, I'm absolutely miserable with the AC off. Temperature regulation, I don't know her. But yeah, that's where we are at. And the rest of my evening is just going to be hanging out and relaxing with my lovely girlfriend, hanging out with the cats. We have fed 8 out of 9 of them. We have to feed River soon. Definitely going to introduce you to him. He is a sweetie. And if you notice that like the back half of his body, like his ass is shaved, don't say anything. He's very self-conscious about it. So pretty soon on the agenda will be dinner, and then I'm probably reading, maybe watching TV, maybe playing some Animal Crossing. My girlfriend has like the most beautiful island on Animal Crossing. She's worked so hard on it, and it just, it looks so good, and I'm so jealous because my island is still very like, I don't have any paths going yet. I love that like old school Animal Crossing feel. I played it like when I was a really young kid on the GameCube, and there's just something about that vibe that's so nostalgic to me that I can't let go of it. So I will see you all again when we feed River, who you might be able to hear screaming in the background right now. Everyone meet River. This is our sweet kitty who had an abscess and stitches and crusty skin and all sorts of issues, and ringworm. He had ringworm, and he is currently hanging out with Humphrey. This is a little bit like the Cold War. They're coexisting somehow. Not very well. Hey Humphrey, be good. But we're trying to get Humphrey a little bit more socialized with other cats. And it's going. Like, they haven't fought yet, but we had to be really careful for a while because River literally had stitches everywhere. He's not as bald as he was. He was straight up bald like 6 weeks ago. But yeah, this is our handsome boy that we nursed back to health. We love him very much, and we're really hoping that maybe he and Humphrey can become buddies. I don't think they'll ever be roommates, but we would love for Humphrey to have a friend. He doesn't interact with other cats very much. Good morning, everyone. If I sound tired, it's because I am. I barely slept last night. I was so hot. Not that anyone cares, but anyway, oh, there's a little hummingbird. That's nice. It's like noon right now, and it's breezy. It's breezy. We had a little bit of rain. Some of the cat bowls from dinner last night are like filled with water. Like the worst hasn't come yet, but it hasn't been too crazy at this point. I'm mostly worried about my lights staying, and also like just the random shit in the yard. As you can see, like, I don't know how much you can see it, but like right there with my blurry hand, my neighbors have like this creepy little structure in their backyard that there's no way that thing is gonna survive. So yeah, it's breezy right now. It's a little overcast, but I don't think the worst is supposed to come until like, what, like 3 or 4 maybe? So yeah, that's where we are now. All of the kitties are accounted for except Alice. And we're not worried because Alice is creepy and doesn't show up sometimes. Let's say hi to Miss Nolly. Nala. Hi, honey. There's her foot. I don't want to be in it. I look really rough right now. Hi, baby. That's our Nollywood. And she's protesting against her breakfast right now because she doesn't like that it's a different brand than usual. And I don't know what to tell her. And jiggling her belly, her fupa. Her fupa's full of government secrets. Nelly, want to show the people your face? Oh yeah, good girl. Fast forward a couple hours, it's now about 2 o'clock. It's raining a little bit harder now. It's still nothing crazy, but my backyard is definitely going to flood because the drainage system is absolute shit. But I wanted to take a minute to talk about my current read, which is actually my first ever advanced review copy, and I was so excited when I got it. Like, I got the mail, and the thing with ARCs, I request physical ARCs because I can't use something like NetGalley because I hate reading as an ebook. It's just not fun for me because I work 8 hours a day on a computer, and I love having a hobby that doesn't require me to look at a screen because pretty much all of my other hobbies do. Like, I enjoy writing, I enjoy playing video games, and all of those require me to stare at a screen. So when it comes to reading, like, I don't want to be staring at the screen. So that's why I request physical ARCs. And the thing with that is you generally like don't get a response if they're going to send you one, if they're not. So imagine my surprise when this showed up in the mail, just like unannounced, like 3 weeks after I requested it. This is What We Kept to Ourselves by Nancy Ji Young Kim. Thank you so much to Simon & Schuster and Atria Books for the advanced review copy. When I do my review, I'll do this disclaimer again. I got this copy for free. It does not affect my review. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. And whether I got a book for free or I paid for it with my own money, that has no conscious bearing on my enjoyment. And I use the word conscious on purpose because I do think when you receive something for free, you are even just subconsciously inclined to be more gracious toward it. And that's not just me, that's literally everybody. I think that's just a human reaction, but I try to be very, very impartial no matter what I review. I'm not afraid, as you know, to give something a negative review. So that doesn't change just because I got something for free. What We Kept to Ourselves comes out on October 10th. So it'll be releasing in about 6 weeks or so, 6 or 7 weeks from when I'm filming this. So this is a dual timeline book, and the present timeline, if you will, they're both past timelines, but like the one that is set in the book's present, if that makes sense, follows the Kim family after the disappearance of their mother. And this is in the year 1999. And it's set really, really close to Y2K. It's set right around the Christmas holidays, which they make references to Y2K throughout. And I'll get to my issue with like near historical settings. I'm not a huge fan of them. But the second timeline is set from the late 70s up into the 1990s, and it follows the perspective of Sunny, who is the missing matriarch of the Kim family. And that timeline is really her experience as an immigrant, the isolation that she feels after coming from Korea, not knowing the language, not being able to make friends, her husband John constantly having to work and leaving her alone to raise their two kids, Anna and Ronald. Fast forward to 1999, she's gone missing, and the inciting incident for that timeline is that a homeless black man dies in the Kim's backyard underneath their tree, and he has a letter with Sunny's name on it. So it brings up all these questions. First of all, what happened to Sunny? Who is this man? How did he know her? What exactly is going on? So what we kept to ourselves is it's kind of like a book in three parts in a way, like three different genres. You have the part that's family saga, you have the part that's historical, and you have the part that's a mystery. And right now I would say I'm probably like 70% through the book. It's about 400 pages. I tend to shy away from longer books, and this is kind of reminding me why. I think it's a little bit overwritten, to be honest with you. This book could probably be more like 330, 350, and I don't think a lot would be lost. But my issue with those three genres is, as someone who likes sort of cross-genre fiction, I like literary suspense, something like Notes on an Execution by Danya Kafka. I read that in June. It's probably one of, if not my favorite books ever now. I really loved that. I like when writers are able to blend different genres. And my issue with what we kept to ourselves is that it doesn't really feel like they're blending. It sort of feels like they're all competing with each other. And I am still enjoying it. I want to know what happened. I am especially invested in Sunny's timeline because she is one of the most memorable characters that I think I've read in recent memory. I feel so much compassion and empathy for her. And I don't feel that way toward a lot of characters. So this is a very rare feeling for me to have a writer evoke that much emotion out of me for a POV character. And I am really, really enjoying that. I'm enjoying the family dynamics. Again, this Korean immigrant family and how they all relate to each other, especially Sunny and her husband John. They're both refugees from the Korean War. Their trauma is always going on in the background, and it informs how they interact with each other, with their families, and also with this new country that they've immigrated to. So there are a lot of really compelling parts to this story, but I'm waiting to see how they all add up. The mystery, I'm not sure where it's going as far as the man who died and how that's all going to connect. If it's going the way I think it's going, I have kind of mixed feelings, but I have about another 120 pages or so to see what happens. And yeah, I'm not sure how I'm gonna rate this yet. I am liking it, but not quite loving it. And then, as a random side note, my lovely girlfriend is also a reader, and that's super fun. It's amazing having a partner who also reads, and when you like the same books. She recently read a book that my dad had actually gotten for me, and that is All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. I recommended Blacktop Wasteland to her after I read it. That was my first 5-star read of 2023. And then she was looking for a new read, and she's like, oh, okay, I'll read the new S.A. Cosby one. And she really loved it, and she is telling me that I'm really gonna love it. So that's 100% on my radar to read soon. Blacktop Wasteland was amazing. I apologize if you can hear my dishwasher gurgling in the background. I tried to open the dishwasher door so it wouldn't be making so much noise, but then it screams at me every 30 seconds. So I'm sorry, but you have to deal with the gurgling dishwasher. Like I always say, I'm a professional. But my girlfriend is really big on thrillers, and these are the two books that she is debating between reading. Please ignore the fact that my hand is like a claw down here. And it is, we got the ring light betrayal going. The Girl from Widow Hills by Megan Miranda. I actually got her this for her birthday. And then None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, which was one of the August books of the month. And I got myself Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas, which I read The Hacienda last year. It wasn't my favorite. I gave it 2.5 stars, but it was good enough where I saw the potential that Cañas had as a writer and thought, okay, I'm willing to try her again. I feel like I appreciate writers bringing vampires back into vogue, so I'm interested to see how that shakes out. But then the add-ons are really reasonable with Book of the Month. I want to say it was $12 or $14, which for a brand new hardcover is really amazing. And last month during the bookshop sale, I had asked my girlfriend, oh, are there any books you want? And she actually pointed this book out, and I had to tell her oh, it hasn't released yet. So I got her a different Lisa Jewell one. I think it was The Night She Disappeared, which she said was okay. It has like a triple timeline going on, which I think is entirely too many timelines and would confuse me and my little brain. So yeah, that's totally an aside, but my girlfriend is getting ready to start a couple new books, and it's really lovely to just have someone that you can like sit on the couch with and read and just share that with each other. So now we are going to get off the couch, this 20-year-old couch that was my grandmother's when I moved in and has been torn up by all the various cats and dogs that have lived in this house since then. We are going to get off of this old raggedy couch, and I am going to give you all a brief tour of my bookshelves. I mentioned this in my sort of like welcoming myself back to YouTube video that I recently got the IKEA Billy bookshelves. I got 3 of them in white, and I really love them so far. They look really great, and I wish I had spray painted them pink, but you know, that was a lot of work that, let's be realistic, I was not going to do. I'm not gonna stand there and talk to you about like all 100, 200, I don't know, books that I have there, but I do want to just sort of show you my collection and at least talk about some of them. So I will see you over there. So apologies again for the gurgling dishwasher, but it's the low, gentle gurgle in the background or the dishwasher screaming constantly. So we're going with the gurgle in the background. So these are the bookshelves. Please ignore this terrible 1980s ass chandelier. I hate it. And for a while I had my desk here while River had ringworm and all that. And every time I got up, like once a day, I would fucking hit my head on it. So me and that light fixture have beef, and I don't really like it. But, and there's Humphrey. Say hello, bud. He loves laying in the empty shelves at the bottom. So as you can tell, we don't have them completely full yet. And there are a few shelves that like we're still working on what we want to do with the space. Okay, so I did turn the dishwasher off for a second. Let's see how bad the beeping is. So organization wise, we did color coded, obviously. So we started white and then we sort of went in a rainbow pattern. And down here, this is sort of where like the books that I've generally read or my girlfriend has read stops. And then these shelves here, those two, and then that one there, those are my dedicated TBR. And then the shelf down here is my girlfriend's TBR. And then we just sort of have some decorative bits here. We have like our tarot shelf. If you have been to Barnes & Noble, I don't know if they still have them. This was a little while ago. They had these really, really fun candles that were based on tarot cards. And I love them. I think they're really great. I love the font. I love the aesthetic, and they smell really good. I could not tell you what this smells like, but it's just black inside. There goes the dishwasher. Great. I love this. I love this. Don't you all love how professional I am? And then we just sort of have like our tarot oracle deck overflow here. And then we just have some decorative bits. We have like the fake plants because we can't keep real plants alive. So yeah, this is the extent of my physical TBR, and there's a lot going on. Let's see, do I have any that I want to talk about? I know I talked about like Ripe and the books that I got at Cellar Door yesterday, Night Crawling. I am probably going to finish What We Kept to Ourselves either today or tomorrow, but after that, my next read is going to be The Van Apple Girls Are Gone by Felicity McLean. This has been on my TBR for several months. Let's see if I can actually effectively get the book back in there with only one hand. That was great. This is my copy of Razorblade Tears. It's like the mass market paperback, and it's like not my favorite. And that's like actively keeping me from reading it. And I really want to read it, but the mass market paperbacks are terrible. I have those with Gillian Flynn's books too. This is actually my girlfriend's copy of Sharp Objects, which is the best Gillian Flynn book, don't argue with me. Then we have All the Sinners Bleed, which as I said, my girlfriend just read, and then I immediately put on my TBR. I'm not sure what I want to read after The Van Apple Girls Are Gone. I sort of like to plan my TBR out like 1 to 2 books in advance, but I don't totally stick to it. I am thinking it possibly could be House of Cotton, or I really want to read Circe at some point. I've been putting it off. It could also be Vampires of El Norte, but I'm also thinking like, do I need to save that maybe for October? But then in October, I really want to read. I've been saving this all year. Where is it? Where'd it go? There it is. I'm blind. Everyone Knows Your Mother is a Witch. I think that's like a perfect October read. But that is the state of the TBR, the state of the shelves. And one of the great things about my girlfriend and I moving in together is that we get to merge book collections. And that means I finally have a copy of Saint X by Alexa Scheitkin, one of my favorite books, really, really good. The Hulu series, we started watching it and didn't finish. I didn't feel like it was that great. And it's like, if I don't finish watching a series, there's a problem. Like I felt that way about Daisy Jones and the Six. which I didn't really love the book, but I wanted to try the series. I stopped at the finale. Like, I watched everything but the finale, and I think that's like all you need to know about the show. But anyway, these are the shelves. So I think this is where we're going to leave it for the vlog. The rest of my day is looking pretty chill. Obviously we're not going outside. We're not leaving the house. It's rainy, it's windy. I am really hoping that we don't lose power. I'm mostly worried about that in the evening, but we will be having a day of indoor activities, Animal Crossing. We'll probably watch Love Island. We're watching season 10, and we're not that far into it. I think we're like on episode 10 or 11. So like, I know it's already wrapped up, but like, why does everyone hate Molly? What did Molly do wrong? And also Tyreek is terrible, trash. Absolute trash. Ella, I need you to move on. And then I will definitely be doing some writing later and some beta reading. I have been beta reading for a couple of folks through Reddit, and I'm really enjoying that. It's like my first time doing a really close beta read, and I'm a line editing machine, and I love that for myself. And I hope it's like not too much for the people I'm beta reading for, but it's a really good experience as a writer. I definitely recommend that you read other folks' works and engage with them. And I think beta reading is a really great way to do that, because you also learn so much for yourself and your craft. But as I said, that is where we are going to leave it today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed. Go ahead, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.